Looks like Orlando Brown is back on everybody's timeline, and this time, he's allegedly spilling some seriously wild tea about the Kardashian West family. One of the most extreme claims circulating around his comments involves Northwest and supposed dark or satanic symbolism.
You love Jesus? Of course I love Jesus. That's my Lord and Savior. People be thinking I'm dark and stuff, but I'm really not.
Now, Orlando has a long history of making unpredictable and controversial statements, so plenty of people immediately question anything he says. But lately, with old Hollywood controversies getting fresh attention online, some social media users have started digging into these claims instead of brushing them off completely. Still, there is no verified evidence supporting these theories, and North herself has reportedly pushed back against claims that she is demonic, saying she believes in Jesus. Even so, people online have been closely watching North's recent fashion choices and extreme-looking accessories. Some images appear to show metal studs or dermal-style piercings across her fingers, hands, and wrists, although it's not always clear whether these looks are permanent, temporary, or simply part of the styling. And then there are the facial piercings and accessories, which, whether real or fake, have sparked even more chatter. Certain commenters have tried to connect the metal stud look to bizarre theories about secret groups and being marked by the elite. But those claims remain internet speculation with no solid proof behind them. Things get even deeper when some people online bring occult beliefs into the conversation. They claim that certain historical or spiritual practices involve cuts, blood rituals, or placing objects into the body as part of symbolic ceremonies. However, connecting those beliefs to North simply because of her appearance is a major leap, and there's no confirmed evidence that her fashion choices have anything to do with witchcraft, dark spirits, or so-called blood covenants. North has also been seen rocking what looks like a bridge piercing style, basically a metal bar positioned across the upper nose between the eyes. It's another bold look that has kept people talking and added a whole new layer to the speculation surrounding her changing style. In some spiritual and occult traditions, this area is linked to the Ajna chakra, commonly called the third eye, which is often associated with intuition, spiritual awareness, and seeing beyond the physical world. That connection has led some people online to ask whether the placement of the bridge piercing look is simply a fashion choice or intentionally references that symbolism. But of course, a piercing in that area alone doesn't prove any spiritual or occult connection. Then there's another detail people keep bringing up. Dermal hand piercings can reportedly be painful, easy to snag, and prone to complications like infection or rejection. That has sparked another question online. Why would a parent allow a young person to wear something that looks so intense, especially if it involves real piercings? However, some of these looks may be temporary or cosmetic rather than actual body modifications, and this is where the darker rumors really start getting heavy. Historically, certain cultures and spiritual traditions have used body modification or pain during rituals and ceremonies, sometimes as part of initiation practices or attempts to reach altered states of consciousness. Critics online have tried to connect North's appearance to those traditions, claiming that exposure to extreme-looking body modifications could somehow mirror ancient initiation rituals. But that remains pure speculation, and there is no verified evidence showing that Kim, Kanye, or North are involved in anything like that. At the same time, North is known for having a bold and creative sense of style, and Kim has reportedly explained that some of the studs seen on her hands were simply fake piercings or stickers used for the look. She has also spoken about giving North room to express herself creatively. Still, the dramatic imagery has definitely caught people's attention, and it's exactly the kind of thing fueling the theories surrounding Orlando Brown's latest claims, even though there's no proof that these fashion choices point to anything darker. Speaking of these so-called initiations, another debate that keeps popping up online is the way Northwest has been styled in the public eye since she was very young. Some critics have accused Kim and Kanye of introducing North to the celebrity spotlight and high fashion world at an unusually early age, pointing to different outfits over the years as examples. Back in 2014, when North was around 1 year old, Kim frequently dressed her in coordinated mother-daughter looks. During Paris Fashion Week, North also appeared at the Givenchy show wearing a black lace and mesh outfit that sparked conversation because some viewers felt the high fashion styling looked unusually mature for such a young child. Then, in 2018, when North was around 5, Kim faced criticism after sharing a vacation photo showing her daughter in swimwear. The controversy continued years later in 2022, when some social media users criticized another one of North's fashion looks at her Aunt Kourtney Kardashian's wedding celebrations in Italy, arguing that the corset-inspired styling appeared too grown up for her age. The conversation heated up again when North turned 12 and traveled to Mexico with members of her family. Photos from the trip went viral, with social media users comparing her appearance and styling to that of another young relative, even though comparisons between kids can be misleading and unfair. Not long after that, North was photographed wearing a structured corset-style bodice with a flowing ruffled miniskirt and steampunk-inspired boots. From a pure fashion standpoint, the outfit definitely made a statement. But once people considered North's age, the reaction quickly became divided, with some commenters saying, "This is too much for her age." And it wasn't long before parents and other critics online started questioning what they viewed as age-inappropriate styling choices. Much of the criticism focused specifically on the outfit's structured and form-fitting design, while others defended the look as nothing more than bold fashion and creative self-expression. For conspiracy theorists online, however, all of this supposedly connects back to those alleged initiation theories. And then there was North West's appearance during the celebration of The Lion King and its legacy at the Hollywood Bowl in Los Angeles, an event filmed for release on Disney+. The production featured performers connected to different film and stage versions of the iconic story, including award-winning talent and professional Broadway dancers. Then North stepped onto the stage to perform "I Just Can't Wait to Be King," and the reaction online was rough. Some viewers criticized her singing and felt the performance looked under-rehearsed, especially compared with the seasoned professionals surrounding her. At certain moments, dancers appeared to guide North toward her positions on stage, which only added to the criticism and debate. The introduction also caught people's attention because Jason Weaver, the original singing voice of young Simba in the animated film, appeared during the segment before North's performance. Critics questioned why North received such a major opportunity, while others argued that putting a young performer alongside experienced professionals naturally created an unfair comparison. Of course, the most obvious accusation flying around was nepotism. Many people assume North landed the opportunity because of her famous family and powerful industry connections. But conspiracy theorists took things much further, claiming the shaky performance was somehow a planned humiliation ritual designed to embarrass her publicly. That's where the theories get seriously wild. For years, certain corners of the internet have pushed unverified claims that celebrities must supposedly endure public humiliation before receiving greater fame, money, or influence. Some theorists tried to place North's performance into that narrative, despite there being no credible evidence that any such Hollywood ritual exists. And when those same people bring up old rumors surrounding Kanye's unusual fashion shows, alleged red rooms, and other dark claims made about the Kardashian West family, they argue that they see a bigger pattern, but these connections remain speculation, and claims involving rituals or sacrifices have not been backed by verified evidence. Anyways, these are just some of the things Orlando has allegedly been saying behind the scenes. And I know some people will still argue that his claims shouldn't automatically be taken seriously given his controversial history, and there are understandable reasons for that skepticism. In 2016, Brown reportedly faced multiple arrests involving allegations that included domestic violence, obstruction of justice, drug-related offenses, and bringing contraband into jail. Others have pointed to his past erratic behavior, confusing interviews, and the extremely serious nature of some claims he's made about major celebrities. This has led some viewers to speculate about his well-being and suggest that he may need professional support. However, it's important not to diagnose someone from clips online or assume that mental health or substance use explains everything they say without verified medical information. And when I say Orlando has made some seriously unusual claims before, this is exactly what I mean. For starters, he previously made bizarre statements connecting himself to Michael Jackson, at times describing Jackson as a father figure and reportedly even suggesting he was his biological father.
What's up with Nick?
If you compare your career to somebody, who would it be?
Michael Jackson. That's me.
Never.
You're a liar.
What?
He also referred to himself using the name Orlando Brown Prince Michael Jackson Jr., leaving viewers completely confused about what he actually meant. Things got even stranger when Orlando reportedly talked about being trapped in connection with MJ. Some fans took those comments and ran with them, interpreting his words as a possible reference to secret locations or the rumored underground tunnels supposedly connected to Michael Jackson's Neverland Ranch. But that interpretation remains speculation and shouldn't be treated as something Orlando actually confirmed. As for the tunnel stories themselves, Neverland was known to have unusual design features and private areas. Some accounts have described unconventional architectural elements around the property, but that doesn't prove the darker theories circulating online. Many of those features could have had far more ordinary explanations connected to Michael Jackson's intense desire for privacy and his well-known fascination with Peter Pan and creating an elaborate fantasy-like environment. But here's where this whole story takes another strange turn. Because once Orlando Brown's name starts trending again, people don't just focus on one interview or one allegation. They start digging through everything he's ever said, looking for connections between old statements and the new rumors currently making rounds online. And Orlando has definitely given the internet plenty to analyze. Over the years, clips from his interviews have repeatedly gone viral because of the shocking names he mentions and the bizarre stories he tells. Sometimes his statements are difficult to follow, and other times he makes extremely serious allegations without providing evidence. That's why separating confirmed information from speculation is absolutely necessary here. Still, conspiracy communities believe there's another reason people pay attention to Orlando. Their argument is basically this: what if someone can say something outrageous, get laughed at, and then years later one small detail turns out to have some truth behind it? Suddenly people go back through every old interview searching for clues. But that's also where things can get messy, because one accurate detail doesn't automatically make every other claim true. And this brings us right back to the Kardashian West conversation. For years, Kanye West himself has publicly spoken about feeling controlled, pressured, or misunderstood within the entertainment industry. He's made controversial statements about celebrity culture, powerful executives, contracts, and the way major institutions operate behind closed doors. Some of those comments were based on his personal experiences, while other statements sparked major backlash and criticism. Naturally, conspiracy theorists have taken Kanye's words and connected them to much darker theories. They point to his dramatic public appearances, unusual fashion concepts, masked performances, and cryptic imagery as supposed evidence that something deeper is happening. But symbolism in art and fashion can have many meanings, and there is no verified evidence proving that these creative choices are connected to secret rituals. Then you have Kim Kardashian, who has spent most of her adult life living under an enormous spotlight. Every outfit, relationship, business move, and parenting decision becomes a headline within hours. And now that North is growing up in that same environment, the attention has increasingly shifted toward her as well. That's where this conversation becomes complicated. North is a young person growing up inside one of the most famous families on Earth. She's surrounded by cameras, fashion, music, celebrity events, and millions of strangers commenting on practically everything she does. Something as simple as an unusual accessory can instantly become a viral conspiracy theory. And that's exactly what appears to be happening here. One side sees North experimenting with bold fashion and expressing a creative personality. Another side sees famous parents allowing their child to grow up too quickly in the public eye. And then, way out on the edge of the conversation, conspiracy theorists see supposed symbols, secret messages, and alleged initiation rituals. Orlando's alleged comments have only pushed that speculation even further. But there's still one major question hanging over this entire story. Where is the actual evidence? Because when serious accusations involve real people, especially a young person, viral theories aren't enough to establish that something sinister is happening. At the same time, that probably won't stop internet detectives from digging. Every old Kanye interview, every controversial Kardashian moment, and every new photo of North is now being placed under the microscope. And with Orlando Brown's name once again being connected to these conversations, people are going back through his wildest statements to figure out whether there's anything concrete buried underneath all the chaos. And once people started digging deeper into Orlando Brown's history, they quickly realized that the Kardashian West family was far from the only famous name caught up in his controversial statements. Orlando has mentioned multiple celebrities over the years, and every time an old interview resurfaces, social media goes into detective mode trying to figure out what he was actually talking about. One of the biggest problems, though, is that Orlando's stories can sometimes jump from one subject to another without much explanation. He might mention a celebrity, make an explosive statement, and then suddenly move on before giving any evidence or context. That creates the perfect environment for rumors because people online start filling in the missing pieces themselves, and that's when speculation can quickly get presented as fact. But here's where Orlando's story becomes much bigger than celebrity gossip. Remember, Orlando entered the entertainment industry at a young age. He became widely recognized through television roles and eventually gained major attention as Eddie Thomas on Disney Channel's That's So Raven. From the outside, being a successful young actor might look like a dream come true, but growing up in entertainment can also come with intense pressure, public scrutiny, financial complications, and the difficult transition from being a famous child performer to building an adult career. And Orlando isn't the only former child star who has spoken publicly about struggling after early fame. Over the years, numerous former young performers have described difficult experiences involving pressure, exploitation, controlling environments, and adults who allegedly failed to protect them. Those real conversations have made audiences far more suspicious of the entertainment industry than they were years ago. So when someone like Orlando starts making explosive claims, some people immediately wonder whether there could be a genuine experience buried somewhere underneath the more confusing statements. But that's a very different thing from assuming every allegation must be true. And this is exactly where the internet keeps getting divided. One group sees Orlando as an unreliable narrator whose claims shouldn't be repeated without serious evidence. Another group believes people dismiss him too quickly because of his troubled past. Then there's a third group that takes practically everything he says and connects it to massive Hollywood conspiracy theories. That's when things really start going off the rails. Old interview clips get chopped into short videos. Comments are removed from their original context. Dramatic music gets added. Suddenly, a confusing statement from years ago is being presented as if it's a brand new confession exposing some massive secret. And before long, viewers are connecting celebrities who may have absolutely nothing to do with each other. That's why Orlando's alleged statements about North West have generated such a heated reaction. They sit at the intersection of several conversations already dominating social media. Concerns about children growing up in the spotlight, accusations of nepotism, celebrity parenting, unusual fashion choices, and decades-old conspiracy theories about Hollywood. Put all of those ingredients together, and you've got the perfect recipe for a viral storm. But there may be an even bigger question hiding underneath all this noise. Instead of asking whether every strange outfit or celebrity performance is evidence of some secret ritual, maybe the real story is about what happens when children grow up surrounded by fame, money, cameras, and millions of people watching their every move. Because whether you believe Orlando's allegations or completely dismiss them, one thing is undeniable. The internet is watching North West extremely closely. And as she becomes more visible in entertainment and fashion, that spotlight is only getting brighter, which means every new appearance could trigger yet another round of rumors, criticism, and conspiracy theories. And this is where Orlando Brown's story starts opening up an even bigger conversation about child stars and what really happens when young performers grow up inside the entertainment machine. Because Orlando isn't the first former child actor whose life took a difficult turn after the cameras stopped rolling, and he certainly isn't the first to leave people wondering whether early fame came with a hidden price. For decades, audiences have watched young stars become household names almost overnight. They're suddenly making serious money, working long hours, attending major events, and spending most of their time surrounded by adults. But behind all that fame and glamour, there's still a young person trying to grow up in an environment that very few people could ever understand. And that's exactly why Orlando's past keeps getting brought into this conversation. Some people look at everything that happened to him after his Disney days and see a former child star who struggled with the transition into adulthood. Others believe his experiences in Hollywood may have left him with stories that the public simply doesn't understand. But without evidence, there's no fair way to jump from Orlando having personal struggles to assuming his most explosive allegations about other celebrities must automatically be true. Still, the internet isn't exactly known for waiting on receipts. Every time another former child star speaks publicly about a negative experience in entertainment, people immediately pull up old Orlando clips and say, "See, maybe he was trying to tell us something." But two people criticizing the same industry doesn't necessarily mean their experiences were identical, and it definitely doesn't confirm unrelated conspiracy theories. That's where the situation gets tricky. There are legitimate questions about how young performers are protected in entertainment. Issues involving working conditions, finances, parental control, privacy, and the pressure of growing up publicly have been discussed for years. Those concerns deserve serious attention without being mixed together with unsupported claims about secret rituals and underground groups. And that brings everything right back to North West. Unlike Orlando, North wasn't introduced to fame after auditioning for a television show. She was born directly into one of the most photographed families in modern celebrity culture. Before she could even understand what fame meant, millions of people already knew her name. Every stage of her childhood has played out under a level of public attention that most adults would struggle to handle. Now, as North gets older and develops her own style, personality, and creative interests, people are trying to decide what every move supposedly means. A bold outfit becomes a conspiracy. A performance becomes an alleged humiliation ritual. A fake piercing becomes supposed occult symbolism. And suddenly, normal debates about celebrity parenting get mixed with accusations that have absolutely no verified evidence behind them. But the controversy doesn't disappear just because the wildest theories aren't proven. There's still a real debate happening about how much exposure is too much for someone growing up in a celebrity family. Some critics believe famous parents should keep their children away from cameras as much as possible, while others argue that kids should be allowed to explore fashion, music, and creativity without strangers turning every experiment into something sinister. And somewhere in the middle of all this chaos sits Orlando Brown. His name continues to pull attention because people can't seem to agree on what to make of him. Is he simply making provocative statements that generate headlines? Are parts of his stories being misunderstood or taken out of context? Or are internet conspiracy communities connecting dots that were never connected in the first place? Until actual evidence emerges, those questions remain unanswered. But one thing is clear. As long as Orlando keeps making headlines and the Kardashian West family remains under a microscope, the internet will keep searching for connections, whether those connections are really there or not. Actually, workers at Michael Jackson's former New York City townhouse reportedly described finding small passageways connecting different rooms. But before anybody runs wild with that detail, some architectural historians have suggested these may simply have been original 19th century servant passages, designed so household staff could move around the property without being seen by guests. So once again, an unusual detail doesn't automatically confirm the darker theories people attach to it. Anyway, Orlando has also made some seriously wild allegations involving Diddy and other major celebrities.
Yo, Diddy, you gave me the ooshka smash. You gave me the ooshka smuaf, the smash. Diddy. Yeah, son. I mean, you gave me the ooshka smuash. I love it, yo. I love it. You gave me the ooshka smuash.
During an interview on No Jumper, Orlando brought up Nicki Minaj while discussing women in the entertainment industry and made extremely graphic and insulting claims about her personal health and hygiene. He even claimed that he had some kind of confrontation with Nicki over the alleged issue and suggested that the situation supposedly became dangerous. However, these were Orlando's claims, and there is no verified evidence supporting the story. And Nicki isn't the only celebrity Orlando has dragged into his controversial statements. He has also made claims involving the alleged relationship between Diddy and Nicki's ex, Meek Mill, along with eyebrow-raising comments about Nick Cannon and Will Smith. Once again, many of these statements remain unverified, so they shouldn't automatically be treated as facts. Then we have the things Orlando has publicly revealed about his own life. When Orlando appeared on Dr. Phil, he spoke about his personal struggles, including addiction and mental health challenges. One of the most talked about moments came when he appeared confused while discussing his children, reportedly struggling to recall details and making a statement about a 2-year-old child still being in the belly. The interview left many viewers deeply concerned about his well-being at the time. So yes, it's understandable why some people question Orlando's credibility, but his supporters argue that dismissing absolutely everything he says without examining the evidence isn't the answer either. The key is separating claims that can actually be verified from shocking allegations that remain nothing more than speculation. And that brings us right back to North West. Whether you see her bold hand and face accessories as a young person experimenting with edgy, high-fashion looks, or you believe there's something deeper behind the imagery, that's for you to think about. But when it comes to Orlando's darkest allegations about supposed satanic rituals or elite offerings, there's currently no verified evidence proving those claims. Now, I want to hear what you think. Are people reading way too deeply into North's fashion choices, or do you think there's a bigger conversation here about celebrity culture and children growing up in the spotlight? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure you like, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs to see this story. Turn on your notifications so you don't miss what we cover next, and I'll see you in the next one.